Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Tomkins. Today's top stories. A 21-year-old has been charged with murdering his father in County Waterford. The Taoiseach has described the murder of Cian Mulready Woods as one of the most horrific murders he can remember. The second cath lab at University Hospital Waterford has been granted planning permission. Minister John Halligan says he received death threats and a crown of thorns in the post during the abortion referendum. And in sport, Shane Lowry recovers from an early double bogey at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. A 21-year-old has been charged with murdering his father in County Waterford. John Butler, who was 48, died following an assault last week in Portlaw. Owen Dalton reports.
The incident happened in the early hours of last Saturday, 11th of January, on Brown Street in Portlaw. John Butler was rushed by ambulance to hospital, but later passed away. His son, Stephen Butler, was charged at just after 10:30 this morning with the murder of his father. The defendant, who has an address at Shielbagan, Ramsgrange, New Ross, County Wexford, was originally charged with assault causing harm, but this was upgraded to murder today at Carrick-on-Suir District Court. Garda Sharon Ryan said he made no reply when charged. His solicitor, Ken Cunningham, told the judge that a bail application will now be made to the High Court. Judge Terence Finn remanded Stephen Butler in custody to Limerick Prison. He is due to appear in Carrick District Court again on the 6th of February.
The Taoiseach says he intends to visit Drogheda in the coming days. Leo Varadkar was commenting on the murder of Cian Mulready Woods, who was from the area. He describes it as one of the most horrific murders that he can remember. He says the town will have all the Garda resources it needs to tackle gangland crime.
We'll continue to invest in additional Garda resources. We've been doing that consistently for months, and we're going to continue to do that. And also, in the longer term, we need to really act seriously against some of the underlying causes that give rise to crime in the first place. And, we've done in the northeast inner city already, and I think we need to give consideration to having similar programmes in other parts of the country as well.
Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have clashed over the economy on day 2 of the election campaign. Fianna Fáil has promised an income tax package in its manifesto, while Minister Paschal Donoghue has claimed Fianna Fáil would take a "we have it, so we'll spend it" approach to government. That's something Fianna Fáil's finance spokesman Michael McGrath rejects.
I think he's just making that up as he goes along. That is not the Fianna Fáil way. I think it annoys Fine Gael that Fianna Fáil is taking a very responsible, cautious and prudent approach to the Irish economy. They would rather it were different, but I have bad news for them. It's not different, because Fianna Fáil will manage the economy responsibly and will do a better job at the public finances than Fine Gael have been doing.
Meanwhile, people in Waterford are being told there's still time to register to vote in next month's general election. Those whose details are not listed on checktheregister.com are advised to contact Waterford Council to see if they're on the supplementary register. County Registrar Neil Rooney says if you're not on this, applications can be made to the local authority.
That is a form that has to be filled out. You can get it in City Hall. It has to be filled out and it's to be sworn before a Garda and given to City Hall. And that must be done before the close of business on the 22nd of January. It's Wednesday of next week. So that's a very tight time scale. Very, very, very tight.
And he's warned you might not be on the register if you registered to vote after the local and European elections.
Current register expires at the end of the 14th of February, and the new register comes in on the 15th. The issue which obviously is of concern is the fact that a lot of people will have gone on the register for the first time for next year. A lot of people would have gone on in September, October, etc., up to Christmas, would have applied to go on that register. They will not be on the old register, which is the one we're working on now. The only way that can happen is if they go back and get a form and apply to go on the supplement to the register.
The second cath lab at University Hospital Waterford has been granted planning permission by Waterford City and County Council. The development will consist of a 2-storey extension to the existing hospital and include a specialist procedures room, a preparation and recovery room, diagnostic facilities and ancillary accommodation. Fine Gael Councillor John Cummins says it's hugely positive that the green light has been given.
Obviously, we've been fighting for 24/7 care, campaign groups, the general public and politicians over the last number of years. So this is a huge step forward in the fight for 24/7 care. It's going to put a second permanent cath lab on the grounds of University Hospital Waterford, which is a prerequisite for 24/7 care because of the issues with a single point of failure with a single cath lab, and obviously with the way the service is run with diagnostic and routine procedures in one and emergency cases in the other.
Minister John Halligan has told how he received death threats and a crown of thorns at the post during the abortion referendum. The outgoing independent TD for Waterford says the package was sent to him in a padded envelope to the Oireachtas during the referendum campaign. This week, John Halligan confirmed he won't be running again for election and plans to retire from politics. Speaking to Damien Tiernan on Daisha Today, Minister Halligan also revealed he was warned that a device was going to be left underneath his car.
People were sending letters to my door. I had a crown of thorns delivered to me in the Dáil. Somebody just delivered in a packet, all sealed up and everything. A small crown of thorns, yeah. I think I still have it up there in the Dáil. Some of the stuff that I got, I mean, you know, the instance where this guy said you better start checking under your car every morning. My daughter was hemmed in a restaurant here in Waterford. I think it was Dunmore or someplace like that by some of the pro-lifers. Now, they're not all like that, but some of them were really outrageous, abusing you, shouting abuse at you. My mother was dead, sending me, like, if your mother could come up from the grave and all that sort of stuff, what would she think of you? And so on. Some of the stuff was appalling.
Meanwhile, Minister Halligan's brother says he will not be run in the upcoming election. There had been speculation that Brendan Halligan, who runs Children's Group Link in Waterford, would run in his brother's place. He confirmed today he'll not be putting himself forward. Farmers protesting against beef prices are making their way to Dublin Port this afternoon. They will then head out onto the M50 and home following their overnight demonstration in the city centre. Some of them stayed overnight on Merrion Square and Stephen's Green in their protest over the cost of beef and the rise in carbon tax. James Gagan from Individual Farmers of Ireland outlines their plans for the next few hours.
We're going in a single line convoy down to Dublin Port. We're going to protest at Dublin Port. We're not sure yet how long we want to stay there, and then we're moving on to the M50 then. Now we're here at the moment, the M50 is fairly blocked already with a couple of crashes on it, but we have to make our stand here today and show Leo Varadkar and whoever is the next Taoiseach that farmers aren't going to take this rubbish anymore.
And arts festivals and venues across Waterford City and County are set for a boost. €1.3 million in funding has been approved by the local authority for 37 projects. These include Waterford Musical Society's production of My Fair Lady, the Barrack Street Band's 150th anniversary celebration, and Waterford Wall's Art on the Greenway production. Independent Councillor Joe Kelly says it's a big result in light of the council's financial difficulties.
In a difficult year with a very difficult budgetary situation, I think this is an excellent result for the arts community in the city and the county. Practically nobody got any cut, and the funding from last year was maintained due to the efforts of the councillors here in the room. I think it's a fantastic result in the background of a very, very difficult budgetary scenario, as outlined many times by the press, and hopefully the press will carry this good result as well today.
I didn't want to play him, but we needed the win. He was involved in the goal, so that was a positive, but it backfired. So I can just say that we'll do anything we can to get him fit for Sunday.
WLR Sport.
And a very good afternoon. I'm Gavin, Whelan. Apologies there for the sneak clip there of Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who admits his decision to bring on Marcus Rashford in their 1-0 FA Cup third round replay win over Wolves last night backfired. The striker had to be replaced after playing just 16 minutes after landing awkwardly on his back. Former Republic of Ireland winger Mark Kennedy has been appointed the new head coach of League 2 Macclesfield Town. The Silkmen are currently 22nd in the English fourth flight. Defending champion Shane Lowry recovered from an early double bogey to open with a 2-under par round of 70 at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. It leaves the Open winner trailing leaders Sean Norris and Renato Pettora by 6 strokes, with world number 1 Brooks Koepka 2 shots back at 6 under. Koepka's playing in his first tournament since suffering a knee injury in October, and he's happy with his start.
Played really solid. Controlled distances, controlled flights. Controlled spin, everything. That's exactly what you want to do. Felt good to be back out playing though, and just feel the competition again, and I'm pretty pleased with it.
Padraig Harrington is 4 over par into day 2 after dropping 5 shots on his last 5 holes. Next to rugby, Ireland women's head coach Adam Griggs has included 2 uncapped players in his squad for a training camp ahead of the Six Nations. Former Cork Muggy player Claire Keohane and Munster forward Dorothy Wall have both been part of the group. Next to news of Gaelic Games, and Croke Park stages a busy 2 days of All-Ireland club finals this weekend. Modeligo clubman Thomas Welch is the man in the middle for Saturday's All-Ireland Intermediate Club Hurling final between Tullaroan of Kilkenny and Cork champions Fodder O'Neills. The Waterford referee was appointed last weekend to take charge of the decider at Croke Park, which will throw in at 6 o'clock. Speaking to WLR Sport, Thomas says he was thrilled to receive the news last weekend.
I know, a brilliant honour, I really was shocked, and it's great. Then walked into all the other referees and shaking my hand and wish me congratulations and well done, it's just just can't wait now, really, so day up in Croke Park, myself and my umpires, and look, we're delighted, can't wait now.
And we wish Thomas and his team of officials the very best of luck at the weekend up there in Croke Park on Saturday. You can hear the full interview with Thomas on our On The Ball Sports show on Saturday just after 12 noon. Next to news of basketball, it's set to be another huge weekend in the Women's Super League. The Waterford Wildcats return to action. John Hayes, the Wildcats head coach, believes they can defeat any team in the league if they play to their full potential for all 4 quarters rather than going through slow patches in matches. They face the leaders DCU Mercy, who are the visitors to Mercy Hall on Saturday night.
The coaches have been singing exactly the same song to them all the time. Why can't we not put a complete 4 quarters together? And you're totally right. And we've been 20 up at half time on teams, and then we're hanging on in the end, or vice versa. We've got bad starts and we come back at the end. Yeah, I think if they can just keep it all together, capable of beating anybody, capable of beating DCU.
Tip-off at the local venue is at 7 p.m. And finally, Conor McGregor has vowed to knock out Donald Cowboy Cerrone when he makes his return to mixed martial arts this weekend. The Irishman hasn't fought since losing to Khabib Nurmagomedov at the UFC 229 in October 2018. That's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin is at 2.